I think the single biggest predictor of whether you're actually going to do well in life is having to make sacrifices that nobody sees, and you're not going to get acknowledged for them. I want to tell you a bit of a story that I think is funny now looking back, but it really was a defining moment of how I actually grew up. And then tell you a little bit about my life as a business professor, and just tell you about you can do this. You can do a lot of things in your life. So when I was growing up, my family didn't have that much. My dad worked at a pulp and paper mill. He worked there for, I believe it was 46 years. It was either 43 or 46. And he was a pulp machine operator. And so we had a very, very blue collar family. And there was 6 of us kids. Actually, my oldest sister had a very tragic thing that happened to her, and that was she was murdered. There's a long story behind there, but and I don't exactly want to talk about it, but the story that happened to me, I came much later on. My mom was pregnant when that all happened with me, and so I came much later on, but it was always part of our life. The moment that I was like, oh my, I thought this was normal. We had so many hand-me-downs in my family. So I was the youngest one, right? So I was very much the youngest one. And I had every hand-me-down we ever had. One of the hand-me-downs that we had was bicycles. And we had this one bike that was passed on from person to person to person. And one day I got the hand-me-down bike, right? So I was probably about 7 years old, and I lived about a half a mile or a kilometer or so from my elementary school. One day when I was riding home from my elementary school, vividly remember this, my bike broke in half. It was ridden so many times that literally the frame, the welding on it, broke completely in half, where I had 2 pieces of the frame together that I was supposed to do something with. You just imagine the moment of what that actually looks like. Here's this 7-year-old kid that's riding along, and all of a sudden the bike just splits right in half. I think I was trying to do a jump or something like that off of the sidewalk. But the reason why I tell you that is that to illustrate, I did not have that much growing up. And part of the way that I actually did better is by ignoring a lot of the people around me. And I feel really bad for saying this. It wasn't specific teachers or anything like that actually were really, really critical to me. There was a whole bunch of people along the way that were in the education system. But it was the notion that I can do this that was trained into me. And part of the reason why I began to ignore a lot of my surroundings, I'm going to get to that in a minute, was so that I can apply myself to school. I sort of fell in love with school, but part of that was because I was trying to escape, because it didn't quite fit in. I still kind of am if you met me in person, you would think I was slightly awkward, slightly nerdy. And I think my brain is different. And what I did is, to escape that feeling, I went into education. And I was very strategic in terms of how I got to where I went to. Growing up with very little, education was a really big part of me. So I did everything to make more money and to do better, right? So I got an engineering degree. Then I got a master's of management science, and then I got a PhD in business and strategy, all from the best schools I could possibly get into given my situation. And all of that, and now I'm a business professor. It was a struggle. You can watch many of my other videos, but it was a struggle to actually get here, and it always has been. But I want you to know that if you are facing anything like this, part of the challenge is the unseen battles that you're going to have to face. It's the getting up and ignoring, people that are probably very close to you, that are very well intentioned, but they just don't quite fit with who you are. And it's having the ability. I was so awkward and different. This is really funny, but and it's no offense to anybody out there, but I was so awkward. I'm very, very I've got a wife and 2 kids, but I was kind of such an awkward person, and this was of a different generation. That my grandma thought that I was gay because I was different and I didn't quite fit in. And that's all of this is to say that, and it's not to say, again, this is not like, this is just what it was growing up in a small town. This is not to say that you're not going to experience, this is what I want to say, is you're going to experience a lot of unseen sacrifices and fight a lot of battles that are often very, very difficult and challenging to wrestle with, and that sometimes resonate with you far too much and stick in your mind far too much. And these unseen battles, it doesn't matter whether you're in the workplace or at home or, family or whatever, in order for you to do well and to become successful, whatever that is. I don't care how you define that, but you have to be able to ignore things that are often said and move forward. And it's these unseen battles that you fight that are the most important things that you ever have to deal with. And once you get over that, you realize that is part of doing well, is fighting these battles in the workplace, at home, everywhere. Once you start to realize that, everything changes and becomes part of who you actually are. And you get to the moment that you fought so many of these battles that you get a stiff upper lip. And once you get that stiff upper lip, which somebody told me early on in my career, and I was like, what the hell? Once you get to that many times that has happened to you, then you're well on your way to do good things in this world. So don't get discouraged, fight those unseen battles, and keep going every single day. Even when people tell you no, even when people think that you're weird, even when you don't fit in, that's often a miracle to fight those battles, because those are the things that most people are unwilling to do. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.